We want to welcome everybody out to our September the 4th workshop. And we'll call this meeting to order. There's going to be an amendment to the agenda. We will be adding 3.4, the Madison County Athletic Booster Letter. And we will get started with item number 3.1, appointment of the board member to serve on the legislative committee.
Madam Chair, was it something where Mr. Copeland wanted to pull?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to pull 3.2, charter school insurance. Thank you. Okay. 3.1, appointment of the board member to serve on the legislative committee.
I nominate Mr. Daniels, board member Daniels.
I'll second that.
Well, first, Mr. Daniels, would you be willing and able to be able to do that?
That's democracy. Yes, I'll accept.
Okay. Well, all those in favor of Mr. Daniels then, representing us? That's a 5-0, Miss Becky, if we needed to vote. I don't. Okay, we pull 3.2, 3.3, job description, Mr. Stallnaker.
Essentially what we'll do is create, you've got a payroll and got a finance. Your payroll position is Jennifer Williams and your finance position, or was Jennifer Williams. And right now we're contracting payroll, and the insurance specialist is Cheryl Alderman. Cheryl's getting ready to retire, and the desire and intent is to have two similar and like positions where they can cross over and cover each other. So what Walter has done, he wordsmithed the job descriptions to where both people will understand payroll and both people will understand insurance. Pending the board's approval, we'd like to go ahead and advertise that position. It's still a non-instructional position, just like payroll was. The payroll and the insurance specialist are pretty much on the same pay line, so there's no change or anything like that. What that eventually allows us to do is to do away with the contract with Ms. Goins, who is currently doing payroll right now.
But in that job description, I did not see the pay. What pay they would start on?
We never put pay in job description, but I can tell you on the pay scale, I could pull that up.
Yes, please. But usually you have a starting salary or something like that.
It is a clerical position, and a clerical 3, which is a high school diploma, would start at $19,660. A clerical 2, which is someone with an AA degree, would start at $21,894. And a clerical 1, which is someone with a bachelor's degree, would start at $26,043.
Okay.
Currently, Ms. Alderman has a bachelor's degree, and when Jennifer Williams was there, I believe, did she have, I can't remember, she had a bachelor's, she had an AA.
What's the top end of the scale, Mr. Stallnaker?
Top end, let's see here. The top end, same categories for, when we get old, our eyes get weak.
You don't have to read it.
Got my contacts in today, working out well. The top end for a high school diploma is $40,660. For an AA is $45,133. And for a bachelor's is $53,440. That's with 28 years experience. My chart doesn't go all the way out. I don't have the last 2 years. That's a good top one.
Did you say this would replace Jennifer and
it would replace Jennifer's vacant position and allow us to eventually get rid of Joanne, which is on contract.
Okay.
Do we need to, did we advertise this as a special meeting?
No.
So there was no voting then?
It is?
It is a special meeting.
Oh, okay.
Special meeting and workshop.
Oh, okay. It wasn't on the thing.
So they have your motion and second approved.
Are there any other questions?
Was it advertised as a, special meeting? Because I see on this thing, it just says workshop. Was it advertised?
It was. Are there any other questions for Mr. Stalnaker about this?
I have one question. For the contract we're doing, would it be cheaper to stay contract than to hire somebody?
Right now, I think it'd be about 6 in one, half dozen in the other. The situation we have right now, we gotta be cognizant of the money, but everything being equal, I just cannot change forces right now. And so we're in, the other thing I'm trying to do is project out from this Alderman leaving.
Right.
That we can't, and the employee benefits and the payroll have so many overlapping duties.
Right.
We can run our office without an AP clerk for a couple of weeks, but if you don't have your payroll benefits, you're.
Right.
And so, to answer that question, that's a tough.
I think it would be better to have both of those positions because, like you said, with benefits, then I want my check too.
You gotta have somebody to know what Cheryl did when she retired.
That's exactly. And then it's gonna equal, in the end, it's gonna equal out because you have that
Right.
knowledge and experience and whatever. And that person, that other person will contract and take that knowledge with her whenever she wants to leave.
Also, at the same time, Mr. Alford, when Cheryl retires, you'll lose a high-pay salary secretary and replace her with lower wage.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the job description?
I'll make a motion to approve the job description.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Gibson, seconded by Ms. Hagan. All those in favor?
Thank you very much.
5-0. Ms. Becky? Okay. 3.4, Madison County Athletic Booster Letter.
At the last meeting, Mr. Burke presented his proposal regarding the parking, and Ms. Hagan asked for something in writing. Mr. Burke did send it to me today, and if you'll look back at the 2.2, he had emailed it to me, so I just copied his email and put it over. So that's his proposal.
But, Madam Superintendent, I don't see in here where we gave it for 1 year only. And this letter, it doesn't say where we gave it for 1 year only. And that was an explicit. It does say that in the minutes, but in this letter it does not, and he knew that that was supposed to have been in this minutes. That's all I gotta say. Because we're receiving lots of negative comments from the public now. I mean, very negative comments. And then they told me, said it was already in the August 17th paper that the Booster Club was gonna do this even before it was brought to the board.
It was on their letter. On Facebook. I mean,
Said it was in
that's
the August
that's how I
17th
discovered
paper
it.
That it was already a done deal before it was brought to the board.
Do you want to ask them to rewrite the letter and put the 1 year only, or?
And see, it's like they're putting that duty
what-
and responsibility on the board when it already had been figured out with them and for them.
What do you think, Mr. Reed?
Y'all can do it either way. You can send it back, tell them to rewrite the letter, or you can just approve it, but only for this one football season. And that way it's, it would terminate after this football season of its own accord unless the school board decides to extend it next year. So y'all can do it either way.
But let me ask you a question about that. Okay, from what I've been told, I've only been on the board for 2 years, but from what I've told, the Booster Club handles how much they charge, and the board has never approved stuff before. Am I correct in thinking that?
I
mean,
believe
I wasn't prepared to vote on that the other night because they already had it on their Facebook Booster site and whatever, all that stuff.
for facility, you gotta remember, it's the school board's facility.
Yes.
And so you have the right to charge for those events or not to charge for those events, or to allow the booster club to charge for those events, or not allow the booster club to charge for those events. It was my understanding that way on back, at some point, a board did approve those charges. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that was my understanding.
What charges?
The gate, the ticket price.
Oh, okay.
For somebody to walk into the game. I know that that on district games, I believe the FHSAA mandates a certain charge. And the division of the proceeds and all that, but that's up to this board. So if you all wanted to say all football games are now free, you could certainly do that, but now how are you gonna replace the money that was coming in?
No, I think they have good intentions.
Sure.
I'm not questioning that. I have had some negative feedback, I will say that. I mean, it's a hard pill to swallow when you're not used to doing it, and no one else does it, except, like I said, Columbia does the $2 for the FFA. So it's a tough thing.
Well, you just remember, those facilities belong to U5, so y'all.
Yes, sir, and the comments that I had, they were told to me, said that they could even swallow that pill if the charges had been just a little bit less expensive, and said something like $15 for the year pass and $2 or $3 for parking or something like that. But because I was telling those people who called me that it's for the benefit of the boys, and you know, like I said, football is king here in Madison County, and we do need that weight room, you know, something done to it. But they're complaining about the prices and whatever, and then they made me to know that it was already a done deal, that it had been advertised in the paper, and say it was in the August 17th paper. That's what they were going to do. And why would the board have to vote on it then? And I explained because it was, we were responsible for that public land. But they had gotten together and done what they wanted to do anyway. And those are the things that I did not know.
Well, Ms. Hagan, you had asked Mr. Burke to outline what he wanted to do with the money, and this is what he did.
Yes, ma'am, and I also asked that a year be in there, but then as the attorney said, that we can stipulate, and we're going to do this. We voted on it, we're going to do this, but we do need that stipulation again in this board meeting's minutes, that it will be only for a year.
So you want, instead of having him rewrite the letter, just make that part
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
motion?
We want to make good on what we've said we were going to do.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the letter for this year only, for just this year?
Madam Chair, as we stated in the last meeting, I stated in the last meeting that we would approve that charge fee for parking for 1 year only.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I accept this motion with the 1 year added to it.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Hagan, seconded by Mr. Alford. All those in favor? 5-0. Thank.
And I amended that with including in this letter that we will accept the letter and include in there that 1 year.
Okay. Got that, Ms. Becky? So at this time, we will review the September 17th agenda. And if I can make my thing work here. Miss Becky showed me. I got it.
Could you please check the public side, because Mr. Tommy can't log in. He's going to use mine for now. We will be recognizing our FSA award winners during our next meeting. At this time, I'm not aware of any amendments, so maybe we won't have any. Under consent, I've got a joint use agreement with the senior citizens. There's some fundraisers listed under there. I have sent an MOU to Mr. Tommy for the Adult Education Center in Greenville. So I hope he'll be able to send it back to me, and we'll place it under there. It's just a very simple MOU outlining that will provide the instructors and some computers. Greenville Baptist will allow us to use their facilities, and they'll pay the utilities and the internet. So I think we just need the basic agreement. There's our adult education grant that we've received, our IDEA Part B. Carl Perkins, there's a couple of our grants we've received. Title IV, just trying to skip down around. Alice training, we've decided to go with Alice as part of our district initiative for our safety. We have 3 overall trainers, 4. I'm not forgetting more weeks. We have 4 trainers. So we've decided to become an Alice district. So that is that, to go ahead and allow us to become that way and train all the schools we've been working that way. Mr. Killingsworth was at 2 schools today working on safety and starting that. There's a daycare agreement for the teen parent program, and there's 3 trips under the staff trips under our grant funds. There's the homeless, there's the Able Trust, and then Mr. Killingsworth's safety meeting, he'll be able to go. Under general funds, we've gone ahead and Miss Becky has made reservations for the FSBA FADS joint conference. So board members will come out of general funds. Mine will be able to come out of our leadership grant. So mine technically will come out of our grant funded. It's just listed under 5.1 under general funds. And then we have a whole slew of field trips that are listed. So you'll notice all of the dates. Some of these end of the year trips that the schools used to take, you'll notice if you kind of look at them, they are taking them more in the fall or even in the spring. So I'm really heart to the administrators, go ahead and get these field trips in. So you'll notice those, and we may see some more field trips coming in this upcoming week. So you'll see we have a lot of our field trips coming in. And we'll have our policy revisions that have been advertised, and so we will have each of the policies listed. And we should be having some screen volunteers come in, because I do know the schools have said they have been collecting the forms. And there are some personnel recommendations that I have signed off on, some para and some instructional changes, so we will have those up there. And there shouldn't be any staffing table changes, but that's our placeholder for the staffing table changes, and then our finance, and then we'll have our trim for our public hearing. So that's our agenda that we'll have on the 17th. So any questions on any of our items? No?
No? Okay, if there are no questions, are there any superintendent items?
I have FADS next week. I was telling the staff this morning, originally DCF was supposed to come, now I think it's Department of Health. I'm not really sure what our agenda is. They keep changing our agenda on us. So, and we're actually talking to the sheriff, the undersheriff this morning, Mr. Richardson. The governor has said the Guardian program money, he wants it to go to the districts, but I don't think the legislators want it to go. So I think there's going to be some delay or lag before we see any of that additional money coming. So, because we have talked about that. So I'll find out more hopefully next week when I go.
Okay, thank you.
So that's the immediate near future.
Okay, are there any attorney items?
No, ma'am, not unless you have questions of me.
Okay, Mr. Alford?
No, ma'am.
Ms.
No, ma'am.
Hagan? Mr. Daniels? Ms. Gibson?
Well, all I can say is I was able to visit about 20 classes and present a lesson on the voting. And I tried to encourage children to get their parents to the polls, because at the polls, the children were able to vote. So I don't know how it worked out. Hopefully they got them there.
They did. Lydia, my granddaughter, was very excited, but she did not comply with the law because she voted twice.
Oh, dear.
She voted when she went with me, she voted when she went with her dad. But I want to thank Mr. Daniels for accepting to be our representative with the legislature. It's a good little bit of work, and we'll appreciate what he did. We appreciated Ms. Hagan last year doing her duty.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it for now.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second by motion made by Ms. Gibson, second by Mr. Daniels.